So are you trying to actually build your dream body in 2024 or beyond? Are you finally saying, as a skinny guy, hey, this is the year that I'm finally going to be able to fill out a medium shirt, a large shirt, an extra large shirt? I don't know how big you are, but that's a good goal to set. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you all exactly how to not only set realistic goals, but how to actually realistically, like I said, we ain't out here trying to, do anything too crazy, achieve your most realistic goals possible. So before we dive into this video, make sure that you subscribe to this channel for new videos every week, and let's go ahead and dive in, right? So what inspired this video recently is I'm actually recording this November 24th of 2023, and this is a season where most people nowadays end up taking a lot of unnecessary time away from the gym. They have Thanksgiving, because yesterday in the time I'm recording this video, it was actually Thanksgiving, and a lot of people start skipping workouts. They start eating more fun foods. They start missing their cardio sessions. They don't track their food anymore, and they just say, hey, I'm gonna wait until next year. And the number one tip that I can give you all is to understand that if you actually want to do something big, you have to realize that if you do what everyone else is gonna do, you will fail, because most people fail. That is the cut and dry truth when it comes down to fitness, right? You have to understand, guys, that the actual stats out there, and I'll see if I can put a screenshot on the screen, most people don't actually achieve the goals that they set when the new year comes around, right? Like, no, most people set a goal and it becomes, a dream, but again, a dream without a plan will never happen. But a dream with a plan becomes a mission, and as long as you follow all the steps that you laid out in that plan, you have a higher likelihood of achieving that mission, right? And thankfully, with something like health and fitness, we as human beings have cracked the code to this a long time ago. And if you just kind of figure out the right information to believe in and to trust in, and you also figure out what to ignore, you are going to be in a better chance to get in shape than most things, because at the end of the day, the science has already been proved, okay? So number one, start before the new year starts, because again, if you start when everyone else starts on the first, you're putting yourself in a category of people that will more than likely fail. In all my years of coaching, I've only had one guy start like in the new year and actually do everything he said he was going to do, right? And that was Ryan Barker. I put his success story in one of the corners over here, and it's an awesome interview that we ended up doing with him, right? And he's like the only guy that I've coached that's actually started in January and did everything he said he was going to do that year, right? So that says a lot, because January is always the biggest year that we've had in company history, but motivation and discipline are two different things, which leads us into our second point, which is to understand that you can be motivated to change your life. You can have the best intentions in the world. You can have a strong enough why, quote unquote. But if you don't do the things you say you're going to do the way you need to do them on a consistent enough basis to see the results necessary in order for you to feel satisfied with the work that you've been putting in, you are going to fail. Your feelings don't necessarily matter with this fitness stuff, right? Like, it's all about inputs plus, inputs equals outputs kind of thing, to keep it super simple, right? I don't want to go too easy peasy, right? But just keep in mind, guys, when it comes down to health and fitness, it doesn't necessarily, like a prerequisite to see results isn't like feeling like it. And as soon as I realized that, guys, that was like the biggest game changer for me, because I used to think that I had to feel super motivated in order to go to the gym. I used to think that, man, I can't go to the gym yet. I got to put on some Eric Thomas. Got to listen to some David Goggins. I got to do something in order to feel like I got to go crush the workout. And to a certain extent, that stuff does have a like a time and a place. At the end of the day, athletes compete the way they do for a reason, because they're in the locker room, listening to their music, thinking about what they think about, thinking about painful moments, pleasurable moments, visualizing their practices, whatever they're doing in order to succeed. But overall, guys, you don't need to feel like it at all to go work out. Most times that I work out, I don't feel like working out. I still do it though. Most times when I need to eat healthy, I don't feel like eating healthy, but I do it anyways. And when you build that habit and eating right, and you're going to the gym and doing your cardio, feels like brushing your teeth, to where you just do it anyways without even thinking about it. And if you don't do it, you feel disgusting, right? Like, that's how working out to me feels. That's how dieting to me feels like. And to all the clients that I've been able to help over the last couple of years, we've been able to rewire that part of their brain that previously used to not be able to, you know, do that, right? So just understand, guys, if you really want to succeed when it comes down to succeed, to, you know, your fitness goals and everything else you want to do, discipline is more important than your motivation. And the funny enough thing is that sometimes the motivation actually comes after you do the work that you said you were going to do, because you get to, you know, cast a vote in the direction of the man that you're becoming with each right decision that you make, right? Third thing, you have to have a plan. Some kind of plan, right? Like, one plan is better than no plan, and ideally speaking, if you can set a very basic plan that you know is going to work over the most complex plan that is so set in stone, and you've set, like, you know, a whole week aside, you took a trip to, like, put all these things together on a piece of paper, and you said, hey, this is going to be the plan that I use to change everything for me. I've typically found that the more basic plan that you're not, like, super locked into kind of thing, and you're able to, like, adjust where necessary, has served people more than, like, the most complex plan that people have designed around all these different variables at play, right? And I say this from personal experience, because when I was a personal trainer in person, you learn all these things by the book, guys. Like, I understand, like, dieting to the T. I understand training to the T. And sometimes what you want to do is you want to create the most optimal thing in the world when it comes down to fitness and nutrition and all these other kind of things that are variables in success physically, that you end up making this almost like Frankenstein kind of program, right? Because you're pulling from this influencer stuff, you're pulling from this book over here, you're pulling from that diet here, you're pulling from this, and then you're not eating here because of this person. And before you know it, you have like this crazy little plan that, while on paper might fit, it's not necessarily practical. And I've come to realize that what's practical is better than what's optimal with fitness, because sure, you can train optimally, sure, you can diet optimally, and if that's who you are, that's great. Some people need to take that approach, but for me, I want to be practical. I think there's definitely a middle ground that a lot of people have been doing nowadays, which I'm a really big fan of as a professional, that is great, right? Because sometimes you can go so scientific with some of these things, and again, science should be playing a critical role into your program and your diet and everything else you're doing in order to make sure that you're doing things that are effective. And really, guys, like, science is like the foundation of all this stuff, right? So don't be ignorant to some of that stuff, right? But again, if you're going so far into that realm to where everything has to be hyper optimized in order for you to just show up to the gym, it's like, dude, become a hard worker, be consistent, be disciplined, have a basic plan, and then iterate where necessary, right? Which leads into my next stop, my next, you know, step, right? Is understand that if you really want to crush it, guys, you do have to make adjustments. As you start getting less and less with your body weight, you need to start eating different kinds of foods. And really, it's not only like different kinds of foods, but it's really like different kinds of portions, right? Because if you go from 220 to 200 pounds, you are going to need a different amount of calories to go from 200 pounds to 180. And it's not even going to be just one jump for those 20 pounds. You might have to make several different adjustments, right? Like I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, if you're trying to lose weight, my personal, you know, formula, and if I need to do like a macronutrient breakdown video on this, I will, has always been body weight in pounds. So if you are international, you live in Mexico, or, you know, on the other side of the world, I'm in the USA, you can multiply your body weight in kilograms times 2.2, and from there you will have your body weight in pounds. Multiply that by the number 10. This is supposed to be a severe calorie deficit, a pretty extreme calorie deficit, but it's because we're not trying to sustain it. So if you do this 6 days a week, and on the 7th day, you just take that number, so body weight in pounds. I like adding 1,000 extra calories, typically in the form of carbohydrates and fats, in order to just replenish the glycogen stores in my body. And it's also like a good little refeed meal, right? I lose about 2 pounds a week doing that. I work out for an hour and a half, 6 days a week. I do cardio for 30 minutes, 6 days a week. And on Sundays, I will typically walk for about 2 hours. And this puts me in a really good, healthy range to where I'm moving 2 hours. I always get my 10,000 steps in, since I'm always, you know, I'm not always, right? But I have a dog that I walk also. And I always make sure that I'm tracking my stats in my high performance track sheet, which I put in my last video. I also make sure that I am drinking my water, taking my supplements, tracking all my habits, taking my photos, doing everything I need to do every single day, and I make the actual habit adherence my goal. Like, I don't really care about the outcome as much nowadays. Like, that stuff is cool, that's great, but I take more pride in taking the pictures when I don't want to take the pictures nowadays. I take more pride in doing my workouts when I'm going to do them the way they need to be done, more so than I care about, you know, I guess like filling out another t-shirt kind of thing, right? And which leads me into the next step, guys. Like, take more pride in the process than you will, just take more pride in the process than you do in the outcome. Because this is actually one of the secrets that worked for Austin Toomer and most of my best students that we've had up to date, right? But Austin Toomer is one of the best examples of this whole principle, right? With Austin, what we ended up doing with him is, for a while, we just hit like this weight loss plateau. And funny enough, it happened right around the 200 marker. He ended up coming to me at around 220, 230, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a big thing for people that are cutting down. They have like this mental like block at like a certain weight range, right? Some people, it's 150 pounds, 170, just depending on how much they weigh, right? 200 pounds is a really big marker for people to like set in their head, I'm gonna weigh less than 200 pounds, right? And with Austin, this was a very similar thing that we had to deal with for him as well. And we would go from like 202, 203, 204, and then 201, 200.2, and like always kind of like be on the bridge of like breaking that number. And I told him, dude, what if we just like stopped thinking about 200 pounds and we just do what we did to go from where we started to where we are now? And he's like, all right, well, let's try it. And it was a really hard thing for him to give up because he's like a very engineer type of brain, very logical, very rational, and he plays by the numbers. So when you're looking at numbers like calories and habits and tracking sheets and all these other things, it's like, dude, I want to make sure these numbers, move forward. But sometimes in fitness, guys, you have to realize that the work is going to work on you before it works for you. So when you start doing the actual work necessary to succeed, even when you see the scale staying the same, even when you see the weight on the barbell staying the same, even when you're doing all these things that seem like it's not really working for you, every single day that you choose to do the work, regardless of the outcome, is another day that you're building the habit of the person that you're becoming. And as you continue doing the right things day by day by day, and the longer that you can delay the gratification to see that result and you don't give up, we're playing with science, guys. Like, this is something, like I said earlier, we as human beings have cracked the code to a long time ago. We're not trying to go to Mars. We're not Elon Musk here. We're not trying to come up with a cure for cancer. We're not trying to come up with a replacement for wood or like a new like EV laptop that we can do outside this like solar power. Like, we're not doing any of that. We're just losing weight and building muscle and trying to look better. We have figured this out, right? So we have to also understand that sometimes it takes the body a little bit of time to adjust to what we're doing. And if you're someone that is also working out and you're also dieting at the same time, sometimes our bodies want to pack on more muscle. You know what I mean? We start working out a little bit more, and then it's like you're in a calorie deficit, but then you've never lifted like this, so your body starts packing on some more muscle because you're feeling good. And sometimes what ends up happening is we're losing weight and we're building muscle at the same exact rate. And what I always tell all my clients is that, dude, if we just stick with the program, eventually you will see that muscle gain slow down, because that's just genetics 101, right? Like, if that didn't happen, I would be benching 700 pounds because I would have just added 5 pounds to my bench press every single week. But genetics play a factor. The human body has its own limitations, and it's just what it is, right? So if you just wait that out, which is another side tangent that I kind of wanted to get into, if you just wait it out when you're, not seeing results on the scale, when you're working out hard, you're dieting the right way, so on and so forth, guess what's going to eventually happen? You will see that scale go down, because your weight gain is going to start, your muscle gain is going to slow down a little bit because your body would have adapted to the stress that you're providing it, and then you see the scale go down. So wanted to kind of give you all a little bit of motivation today, a little bit of tactical steps as well. I know with some of these videos, I get I like fitness a lot, so I go all over the place. But hopefully you all found some value in it. If you do have any questions, please comment them below. I'd be happy to make more videos like this. That way I can help you all have the best 2024 possible when it comes down to your health and fitness. We only get one body, guys. We only get one vessel that we can operate in this world through, and I think it's very important that we as men take care of it, because if we don't, our family, our wives, our girlfriends, our friends are going to be getting a lesser version of ourselves. And if we don't take care of the man in the mirror, how can we take care of them? And the people that are in our lives that want us to take care of them also want us to take care of ourselves as well, right? So love you all very much. Make sure that you like this video, comment what you want to see next, subscribe to this channel for new videos, and love you all very much. Talk soon. And again, if no one's told you in a minute, I'll tell you right now, it's time to get your shit together, man. See ya.